Hi, I'm Brian, and today we're going to show you how to use a right side mirror when you're driving a bus. And it doesn't matter what kind of a bus, the mirror is always telling you the same message all the time.
Throughout the video, you'll see a mix of buses being used, but you'll see that the picture in the mirror is always the same. The principles are the same as well. So let's start with some theory. The red line represents the pivot point on the side of the bus. This is where the motion of the turning bus changes. Behind the pivot point, the back of the bus swings to the outside of the turn. So if we were to turn sharply to the left, say to turn out of a bus stop with a fire hydrant right beside the back wheel, we'll get the back of the bus too close to the hydrant after that pivot point, and our bus might have an unexpected pressure washing session when we knock the hydrant over. But if we were turning sharply to the right, say turning a tight corner, if we turn too early, we run the risk of putting any obstacle ahead of the pivot point into a danger zone, driving the bus up onto the curb and sideswiping a lamp in the process. If we were turning around a car, we could tear off its front bumper. Either way, it results in scrapes, dents, and other damage on the side of the bus, like this, and this, and this, and this, and this, not to mention the paperwork and a blemish on our driving record. But actually, using a right side mirror is trickier than meets the inexperienced eye. The right side mirror presents us with an optical illusion. First, it's a reflection of the right side of the bus, yet we see the bus on the left side of the mirror. You can see this as John makes a right-hand turn at an intersection, drives around a van, and stops in a bus stop. This is what it looks like from John's perspective behind the wheel. Secondly, because the mirror is ahead of us and way off to the right, the information it conveys to us sometimes seems distant and disconnected to our driving. And yet, it gives us some very important information which can be summarized as a picture. So let's have a look at a mirror and figure out what it's saying. Here's a typical right side mirror. Now let's frame the mirror to create the effect of a picture frame. Now, let's eliminate everything else so that there is no doubt what we're looking at. You'll notice most of the right side or inside half of the mirror is the bus. Now we need to find the pivot point. This is important because knowing where the pivot point is located is critical for us to know whether we're putting the bus in danger or not. Unfortunately, it's hard to see the pivot point on a transit bus because the rear tire is set back inside the body of the bus. However, a short drive and the gentlest turn of the wheel, as John is doing here, will allow you to see where that point is, and it's critical that you remember where that point is all the time. This part of the picture will never change size or shape because as the bus moves, so does the mirror as it's attached to the bus. The only way for this part of the picture to change is for you to move the mirror itself. Ideally, the bus profile should take up 1/4 to 1/3 of the mirror picture. In this demonstration, the bus takes up more like half of the mirror. The pivot point is located about halfway down the mirror, and to emphasize in the picture, a set of crosshairs has been added. Now, where are the danger zones in this picture? The most obvious is the kick-out zone. When we turn the wheel to leave a bus stop, the back of the bus, the part of the bus behind the pivot point, will kick out in the opposite direction. We must be aware of objects that the back of the bus might hit, and the best time to know what these objects might be is when we're coming into the stop.
And I'm looking for potential hazards for the back end. There are none. So pull in slowly, looking at my mirror. Stop. Let people on and off. Before I leave, I make sure there's no one running to the bus. I'm making sure there are no objects that I'm going to hit with the kick out. There are none, so I go. And then I'm just double checking again in my right ear. If there are objects there, 3 things you're going to do. You're going to make sure the object is behind the bus when you stop, or you're going to make sure the object is in front of your back tire when you stop. 2 of those things can't happen if you have to parallel park or bend in the stop.
Thanks, John. Now, the second danger zone is the area ahead of the pivot point. This area is one giant optical illusion for a number of reasons. Be aware that this danger zone is tricky, and if you are steering close to anything in this zone, you could likely find yourself making contact with the object before you even realize that you put the bus in a dangerous situation. Here are some of the reasons why you might be lulled into a false sense of security. First, the picture you see in the mirror is a reflection, and as you move past an object, that object moves from the bottom of the mirror towards the top. And as the object moves toward the top of the mirror, it gets smaller as the mirror is moving away from it. So you might be led to believe that the object isn't as important and that it will be long behind you before it becomes an issue. And finally, we forget about off-track, where the back of the bus cuts a tighter turn than the front. Then, even if we do see that we're in trouble, we have to know what to do. Remember, the picture you're looking at doesn't lie. If the picture looks wrong, then something is wrong. Stop the bus. Take your time to assess the situation. Nobody will know why. Buses hold up traffic all the time. So let's have a look at a simulated curb that is inside the danger zone. This is what it looks like. In this case, you cannot turn right. Remember, this is on the right side of the bus. If you were to turn right as it sweeps past the bus, it will also collide with it, seemingly all by itself. From the side, this is the situation. The bus is turning toward the curb, and clearly, with the pivot point so far back, the wheel will go over the curb. If the simulated curb were a fire hydrant, the bus would definitely have its underside pressure washed as the hydrant would be torn out of the ground. Let's let John show us what to do when things go wrong.
Are you on? Yeah. So what I'm going to demonstrate here is turning too tight and then recognizing it and then correcting. So I'm turning now, and I've realized right about now I've turned too tight. So now I'm turning my wheel to the left and correcting and going around the obstacle.
So you can see he stopped and assessed the situation. Additionally, you could see that he straightened out the wheel to allow the curb to move back to the pivot point. Then he moved right again to complete the turn. Let's see another example.
Good. So again, I'm going to turn too tight. I'm watching my right mirror. There. If I keep going, it's going to go underneath the bus and I'm going to drive over it with my back tire. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull away from it a little bit to the left. My back tire is right there. Now I can turn the wheel all the way to the right and go around the issue. There you go.
So no matter where you live, no matter what kind of large vehicle you drive, your driving instructor will have told you to use your mirrors. With this short demonstration, John and I hope that you have a better understanding of how to use your right side mirror so that you can identify situations which can get you into trouble on the right side of your bus and what to do to get out of trouble unscathed. If you have any questions, please ask your driving instructor for a demonstration. You'll both be glad you did.